Hi guys, welcome to this tutorial on SQL for Data Analyst. In the last tutorial, we look at data sources. We talk about different sources where we can get data from. So as a data analyst, what you want to be doing is to gather data or collect data and analyze the data. And what are the processes involved in this, in analyzing data? So you want to collect data, you want to clean data or cleanse data and transform data. At the end of the day, your goal is to create a report that answers a business question or create a report that provides solutions to business problem. Okay, or a report that satisfies business requirements. So the data you want to analyze, where do they come from? So we talk about different data sources, the internal data sources and the external data sources. And our focus is going to be on the internal data source, specifically on relational databases. Data kept or stored in a relational database is the one we are going to be analyzing in this tutorial. Okay, and I promise to explain every concept to you so that you have the right foundation. In a bid to fulfill that promise, in this tutorial, our focus is going to be on the types of relational database management system that we have and what exactly does RDBMS means. Okay, so since the focus is going to be on data stored in RDBMS, then what is RDBMS? It means relational database management system. That's what it means. So all those business applications behind them, we have a relational database. So behind a CRM application, maybe like Salesforce and other CRM applications that you know, behind that is a relational database where the data is stored. Behind every ERP, every robust business application is a relational database. And so the one we want to be focusing on, the data source we want to be focusing on to analyze data is going to be RDBMS. And we have different types of RDBMS. In a bit, we are going to talk about the different types that we have, or some of the different types of RDBMS that we have. So to make it simple, we are not looking at any other data source. We are strictly going to be analyzing data present or stored in an RDBMS. Okay. So in a typical relational database, which is contained in an RDBMS, okay, an RDBMS contains different components. I'm going to show you this in a bit. Okay. An RDBMS contains different components, but we are only going to talk about two of those components, and that is database and table. So inside an RDBMS, we have a component called database. And inside the database in an RDBMS, we have a component called table. Please note that in an RDBMS, we have several objects or components, but we are just going to be looking at two of those objects in an RDBMS. And the first one is going to be a database. The second one is going to be a table. So in order for you to have an access to a database or a relational database, you need to have an RDBMS installed on your computer or on your server in an organization. For an organization to have a database, It means they must have installed an RDBMS on the server. And inside that RDBMS, we can create a database. And inside a database, we can create a table. Now that we know what RDBMS means, that it means Relational Database Management System. Okay, RDBMS is what we use to manage a database. That's just the meaning. Don't overthink anything. That's all you need to know. And RDBMS is what is used inside which we can create a database. Okay, and it contains several other components, several other objects. Our focus is going to be on database and table. So what is a database? A database is a collection of tables. So it means inside an RDBMS, we find a database or we can create several databases. But inside a database, we can also create a table or several tables inside a database. So a database is a collection of tables, and a table in a database is where data is stored. So if I want to keep my data in a database, I have to create a table inside that database. So it is inside that table that my data will be stored. So install an RDBMS. Inside an RDBMS that is installed on your system, create a database. Inside your database, create a table. And inside your table, insert your data, store your data inside your table. Okay, so it's as simple as that. Let me quickly show you an example of a relational database management system. We have different types, and I'm going to show you the different types that I can show you in this tutorial. So what are the different types of RDBMS that we have? We have all these ones you can see on your screen. My SQL by Microsoft, SQL Server, uh, Microsoft Access. We have Teradata. We have Oracle, Netezza by IBM. We have Postgres SQL or Postgres SQL. There we have more than this. Okay, if you want to know more, you can check on Google, you can go on YouTube. We have more than this. This is just to let you know. The takeaway from here is just for you to know that we have different types of RDBMS, relational database management system, inside which we can create our database, and inside our database we can create our table, and inside our table we can store or insert our data. Okay, so I'm going to show you an example so you can see. For instance, let me show you Microsoft SQL Server. I have this already installed on my system. You can see here, uh, this is my system, and I have Microsoft SQL Server here. It's Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. So I have this installed. And here, if I want to see, I already have a database here. So if I go here and expand this server, you see I have database inside an RDBMS. Now we are looking at a SQL server, Microsoft SQL Server. Inside this Microsoft SQL Server as an RDBMS, I have a folder for databases. If I expand this, I have a folder called tables inside database. If I expand this, I have several tables. So I have a table called human resources department. I have another one called human resources.employee. Inside this table, let me expand human resources.employee table. Inside this table, you see I have columns, several columns. I have data inside this. Okay. You see what I have? You see, I have all this data inside my table. So what I can do is, if I want to see the data I have inside human resources.employee, I can just say select star from human resources.employee. So when I execute this, you see the data I have. Don't worry about this query. That's why we are here. We are going to learn this together. That's the SQL you really want to learn. What we are doing right now is just to lay the foundation, the theoretical foundation, so that you know what your job is as a data analyst. And as a data analyst, part of the skill you want to have is SQL skill. You want to be able to write a query like this in order to pull data from a database table, and you can analyze this data that you are looking at. So I'm only showing you this just to give you a graphical example, something that will stick to your brain in terms of RDBMS, database, and a table. So how did we get here? You have to install an RDBMS. Inside your installed RDBMS, you have database. Inside your database, you have tables. Inside the database. So inside this database, you see I have up to 7 different databases. You can have 20, you can have 1,000 databases inside this folder called databases. So inside one of them, so if I open up this AdventureWorks 2012 database, I have what is called tables. If I open up my tables, I have different tables inside this tables folder, and I can query any of these tables because that's where my data is. So because I know SQL, I understand the syntax that if I do select all, which is select star or select asterisk, so if I do select star from this table, I can see this, I can see my data. Okay, so that is one. I can also show you, that's Microsoft SQL Server. I can also show you on Oracle as well. See, this is another RDBMS. You see, Oracle SQL Developer is another um, RDBMS. Inside this, we have different databases too. You can see I have two, I have three actually. This is one, this is two, this is three. So if I want to see, and inside each of them, I have my tables. So if I want to see the data in my table here, I can also say select star, just the same query from, you see, it's suggesting all the tables that I have because I'm presently inside this database. I'm inside this database. So it's suggesting the tables that I have. Let's say I want to see the data inside my employees table. I want to see the data inside here. I say select star from employees. And if I run this, you see my data is displayed. I have employee ID, I have employee first name, last name, email, phone number, like that. Okay, so I've shown you Oracle RDBMS. I've shown you Microsoft SQL Server RDBMS. Let me also show you one more RDBMS. This is Postgres, Postgres RDBMS. Here too, I have several databases and tables. So let's say if I want to see the data inside one of my tables in Postgres, I will say select star from employees. One of the tables I have is employees. If I run, if I run this, you see all my data. See? I have this data inside A. So that's just to show you the different types that we have. So we have different types of relational database management system, and these are the types we have. We have seen this, we have seen this, and we have also seen this. Okay, so in this tutorial, to quickly recap, we looked at what is RDBMS, and we said is where we create databases, and what is database is a collection of tables, and what is a table, and we say the table is where data is stored inside a database or inside a relational database. And where can you find a database or relational database? You find it inside an RDBMS. And we look at the different types that we have. So in the next lesson, we look at other concepts that we need to understand as a data analyst. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.